are the one who needs to be improved. And this also goes for society. You who will do the improving are the one who needs to be improved. And this also goes for society. We can change society. We can get enormous enthusiasm going out of the idea that there is a revolution afoot and that this revolution is going to set everything to right. Do you know a revolution that ever set anything to right? Whether the revolution came from the left wing or from the right wing, the best forms of government that have ever existed in the world are those which muddled through, where they didn't have any very clear setup of control, but they muddled along. A kind of what I'll call controlled anarchy seems to work out better than anything else. When we have a great system and great power to put it into effect, there is always more violence, more bloodshed, more trouble. Always more violence, more bloodshed, more trouble. Always more violence, more bloodshed. It makes no difference whether it be Chairman Mao or Adolf Hitler. You who will do the improving are the one who needs to be improved. And this also goes for society. Improving are the one who needs to be improved. And this also goes for society. It is an amazing thing in our culture. Everybody is afflicted with ontological guilt. For example, if a policeman comes to the door, everybody is instantly frightened. You wonder, what on earth have I done? And there are certain clergy who are absolute experts in making you feel guilty. They are really marvelous. And there are clergy of all kinds, for all classes, and for all levels of intelligence. And they can make you feel real guilty. Only you have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing. Now you see, the thing is that really is a puzzle. They don't admit they're playing games. And when a person is playing games and doesn't admit that they're playing games, then you have some kind of a trickster who isn't really being fair to you. Now, of course, the game, that this game is not a game, has a certain kind of a fascinating quality to it. How mixed up can we all get? Let's try. How mixed up can we all get? Let's try. See? There's a certain possibility in that. I would like to go insane and be as insane as anybody has ever been and be the farthest out crazy nut in the world. See? That's a game. But it's not a good game. It's a game being played by a person who didn't really understand that everyday life was a game too. And I think the most important thing is to admit this. Only you have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing. You have to watch always what games people are playing.
Happy Monday, people. How you doing? What's going on? Blessed day. Yes, it is. I've been watching too much of Handmaid's Tale with my sister. We've just been quoting over and over again the things that they say in that. Every time I walk into the room, blessed be the fruit. May the Lord open. I don't even know what it means. Like, we can kind of like get context clues of what it means, but it's not an actual thing that people say. I mean, praise be. You know, they say that all the time. Praise be unto him. But how we doing? What's going on? Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm not going to be on too terribly long today. Maybe just about an hour or so. I'm just hopping on. My sister's doing some cleaning around the house. And then me and her are going to resume the watch marathon. So now that we're on the last season of The Handmaid's Tale, what we're doing is watching one episode of that and then 2 episodes of Silicon Valley and switching back and forth. So I'm doing my time while we're waiting on the market to work itself out. Don't know what you guys are doing. I know someone said they were going to go on a hike today. Hopefully they got that accomplished. That'll be a nice thing to do. Duper, what's going on, man? Here we go. Let me guess, you're already in a long. Yes and no. I'm sensing some hostility in that. You can see on my screen, I do have a long marked out. On the Discord last night, we talked about 2 positions. I hopped into this short position right here. And then I said, you know, if we do see price action get down to 34,000 and then come back above that level, I'll be taking a long. And right now, I'm in both those positions. I am short from here. I'm long from here. You know, I'm thinking about maybe closing out the long and holding on to the short, but right now there's really nothing telling me to do either or. The only thing that's kind of on, hey, stop, what are you doing? The only thing that's really on the side of me closing the long and keeping the short open would be the 15-minute is crossed to the downside on the MACD leader, and we've kind of seen how powerful that can be. I mean, you know, if we would have taken that last closure over here, would have caught the top before it dumped. But I mean, like I said, you know, everything in the structure of Bitcoin at that point in time, they didn't tell me to short. So we live with it. We work with it. That's currently what I'm doing right now. It was just 2 good positions. You know, I was looking at the 15-minute time frame and waiting for something to shape up. All this little tiny price action going on over here. I don't know why people were getting messed up with that. You really should wait for better positions to open themselves up. I know some people probably tried to short right here off of this tiny ABC. You gotta wait a little bit longer. So once we saw, you know, a decent uptrend and a decent downtrend and a decent uptrend, I took that position. Like I said, still holding on to it right now. And just seeing what's going to go, what's going to happen here. Because like I said before, I do think that a retest of like 37.3 would be in the cards. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on taking profits on my long. Just because I do think that once we get up to 37.3, that's when I can kind of go ahead and take profits more securely. If we're going and taking the 0.441, which it's not really like a set in stone thing. Technically, if I were to take the 0.441, I would have to drag from this top right here. But for all intents and purposes, let's go ahead and do it from right here. We can see that that's lining up for about 38,426, which wouldn't be too bad. Like, it's not something that's going to make me get super bullish if we get that far over the 37K point. We've seen plenty of times, right here, for example, where price action can retreat and still get rejected before really getting back up into that zone. So that's what I'm looking for momentarily, or kind of just waiting on. And once we get up to that region, I will be looking for some sort of ABC. What we should hope for, if we do want to catch a short from that retest, this is obviously a clear A. And maybe right now we do see some sort of B coming down. And then maybe we have one more try to the upside for that 37.3K number. And hopefully that forms some sort of nice setup for us to take if we were going to take another leg down. You know, people have all sorts of ways to convince themselves that they've found the bottom. You know, what I like to promote around here is, you know, if price action looks good, you can assume, but you shouldn't, you know, take it as fact. So right now, I'm not saying that the bottom is in. You know, a lot of people are drawing these parallel channels and stuff and saying that we're going to put in a higher low. We don't know that. There is absolutely no consideration I give that until we have a significant bounce. I'm not going to say we found a bottom. We just learned to work with price action. Right now, a temporary bottom with this ABC setup right here. But there's nothing too much to be said besides that. There's nothing special telling me that this is going to pump to the upside. But, yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of my positions at the moment. Not playing sushi right now. Like I said, I do intend on getting back into sushi once we have like more of a macro setup. Because right now what we have on BTC, it's too small of a time frame to say that this is going to be the bottom. I would have to see something kind of like what we did over here. Maybe we do have a little bit more upside than what we might expect here and form some sort of, you know, bigger B, pushing back up to maybe 40K, and then have another dip to the downside, approaching more closer to that 28, 30K number, giving us a better scenario in terms of what we like to see. So far, this has been the ABC market. Like, despite what some people might say about ABCs not being true, I mean, come on. It has been magical over the past couple of months. How just these things form. And yes, this is one of the biggest ones that I missed. For a guy that talks a lot about ABCs, the entire market is an ABC right now. But that's what I'll be waiting for. But until then, I have two positions battling each other out. I have reduced my risk parameters. Instead of using, you know, like an aggressive 0.5 or 0.3% stop loss, I am just using a 1.5%. I'm still using 2.5% risk, but increasing my stop loss by 3 times definitely, you know, allows me to be a little bit more safe. Sound keeps cutting off. Is that my connection or Kite's? Let me check. Well, I mean, on my side, it's good. Like on the hardware side, it's good. I might have to lower the bit rate because right now I'm pumping out 10,000 bits per second. And sometimes, depending on your internet connection, it hiccups. I was hoping that it wouldn't affect anybody, but we'll see. When Russia bans Bitcoin mining, that's a big deal. I don't necessarily think they're banning Bitcoin mining. You got to think about it. A lot of these countries, like China especially, makes no sense for them to ban things like this. If you look at it, there's a lot of villages in China where like 90% of their income comes from Bitcoin mining. And if anything were to happen, like let's say they legitimately banned it and found some way to actually get rid of Bitcoin miners, which is very hard to do. Obviously, you can look at the power grid and see where it spikes, but it might not be a gigantic operation that someone's having. It might just be a bunch of, you know, people with graphics cards everywhere. That's not really going to raise suspicion. Other countries would just pick up the pace. If difficulty goes down, there's more incentive for people to put more money into miners because now there's a hole in the market and they can soak up the profit. So it really doesn't matter. Like, that's the glory of Bitcoin, is if there is ever a void to fill, the void will be filled. You don't have to worry about the network being screwed because Russia bans Bitcoin mining. There is probably still going to be people mining in Russia. And like I said, Iceland might just be like, all right, order 1,000 more GPUs. Let's get it. Well, I guess in this case, it's not GPUs, it's ASIC miners. And Antminer is about to come out with a new miner, so more powerful. Love to see it. I'm going to dread the day that they come out with ASICs for ETH. I'm sure there's probably already something similar, but so far it's still really consumer friendly in terms of, yeah, you might not be able to get your hands on GPUs, but hell, if you got a GPU, you can make some decent money. I know for me personally, I have a 2080 Ti and a 3090 in the house. And that's, if I put both of those together, I think I'll be making $6 a day with mining, which comes out to about, maybe $180 a month. But then, every $180 a month that you make right now, 5 years, 6 years down the line, might be 10x. So every month that you spend mining now could be worth $1,000 in the future. And that's really the whole point of mining that I don't think a lot of people focused on. A lot of people focus on, what can I make right now? But if you're an actual miner, yes, you do have to sell off some Bitcoin or Ethereum when times are rough or you're not meeting like profit quota to keep the operation going in the first place. But if you're good, and you're not, stressing for money, I guarantee you that most miners just mine and sit on it. Because like I said, if you're making $180 a day, a month now, and that 10x's, that's $1,800 for every single month that you spent mining at the point in time. That's why it's a good thing to mine during bear markets, even though the actual dollar per day isn't necessarily that awesome. Like I said, think about Ethereum. Ethereum was $70 back before this started. Like that was the low before this started. Now it's worth, $2,500 almost. So if you would have just made, $70, $80, be sitting pretty. So don't sleep on mining. I don't really devote too much resources to mining just because I've kind of made my money already. But if I was still just getting started, if I had a powerful graphics card and I wasn't using it all day, you better bet your bottom dollar I'd be letting it sit there and mine. It's just extra money. Yeah, but like I said, there's nothing eventful going on today, really. Just wanted to hop on, say hello, stick to the schedule for once. Like I said, at the moment, this is all we have to kind of work with. This is our largest structure. And right now, we can probably expect something. Like I said, 37,400, 300 is realistically what I would expect. But if we do push a little bit higher into this 0.382, 0.441 region, it's not going to be surprising. I still have my eyes on the downside. And I'm looking at everything kind of like a retest right now. But if we do happen to push up to the 0.382, I definitely will take my profits on the long. And just in case, like let's say it continues to rip to the upside. If we do happen to get back above 42,000, I have to assume that the correction is done until we get back down below it. All right, I just have to adhere to my rules. All right, we have an A, we have a B, we have a C on the macro. Obviously, we're waiting for a little bit of a bottoming structure to kind of say that the C wave is done. But if we do happen to get back above 42,000, I'm not going to be immediately taking a long. I'd probably be waiting for some sort of pullback with an ABC to at least try to get that. But then I would be holding on to that. But until we get back above 42,000, there's absolutely no reason for me to think that we are done moving to the downside. As long as we're below that, we can always move lower. Especially the local low of 37,351. If we're below that, we can also most definitely move lower. Would you mine with a laptop? No, it's really not worth doing so. Reason being is because you're probably mining with your CPU's APU, which is not power efficient in the slightest. Now, I might be wrong on the power efficiency side of things, But compared to a graphics card, a dedicated graphics card is going to definitely net you more hash rate for the power that it is using than an APU. And also, it's going to take you probably 8 years to get the same amount as a dedicated GPU will in like a day. Now, I think there is algorithms for certain coins that prefer CPUs, and if your laptop does have one of the higher end CPUs, maybe, but I don't necessarily know that much about it. Well, shit, I mean, if your laptop's got a 3080, yeah, you're probably not going to be getting the best you possibly can because the heat is going to cause it to downclock, but you should be able to do something decent with it. Obviously, the best thing that you can have is an open bench when mining, because then your thermals aren't going to restrict you from getting more mega hash. And that's why with like a lot of these operations, like in Iceland and stuff, they're kind of at like a major advantage, because all they'd have to do is filter the air from the outside and use it as air conditioning for all the open air test benches, and they can overclock those babies as far as they can. And really, nowadays, you don't even overclock GPUs. The technology is pretty good where, like, if it has enough thermal headroom, it can overclock itself to its max potential. I think with me, I was able to get like an extra 60 megahertz out of my core clock on my GPU, which is nothing. Like, it's not going to really make a noticeable difference. And that's just because it overclocks itself. Like, it doesn't need you to do it. I know back in the day, like, you could get easily like another 150, 200 megahertz out of a core clock because it didn't do the same thing. What I am very excited about is the new AMD processors coming out, the AM4 socket, which I like. It's awesome, but not awesome temporarily, because obviously with this new socket you have to upgrade your motherboard and your processor all together instead of just getting a new processor. But for like the next 3-4 generations, I think you won't have to get a new motherboard. That's one thing I've always liked about AMD. When they come out with new processors, they don't require you to always get a new motherboard, because they have backwards compatibility with software updates. Love to see it. That one's going bad. Link you the calculator again, please. Are you talking about what to mine? Are you talking about the restored calculator? Because that's in the description of the live stream. Always is. Freely accessible, as it should be. I haven't done much today. I cleaned my room a little bit. I know it doesn't probably look like it, but it's cleaner than usual. And went to Starbucks, got an extra caramel ribbon crunch. Besides that, just been chilling on the couch. Past couple of days been pretty nice, not gonna lie. In terms of just chillaxing, not have to worry about these small time frames. Because it was a high stress situation over here. In terms of like trying to land those entries. Because, obviously it didn't work out, but that was one of the best chances for price action to have a legitimate turnaround. Unfortunately, it's just how things work out. If you guys have any ideas for what to talk about when I go on to Ryan's show, I would love to hear them. Because, like I said before, like, Ryan works in like a entirely different sector of crypto than I do. I don't like to look at new projects. I don't like to look at news. I feel like all that stuff just sways you. Because, I mean, like, you look at anything related to crypto on, like, news article titles, it's always super bullish or, like, a bunch of FUD. There's never, like, legitimate news articles. And by legitimate news article, I just want an article to go, we don't know at all what's going to happen. If a news article told me that, I'd be like, you know what? I like them. Oh, we actually got kicked out of our short trade. So this is all we got to work for so far. So until we form a new bearish setup, and don't you dare. I know there's someone in the comments about to go, but Austin, just go down to the 30-second time frame. I know you see it. I know you see the ABC. All right, if that does work out, so be it. Praise be. But I'm not taking that. You can miss me with that. I'll be holding my long. Like I said, I'm not bullish right now by any means. It's just because we had a bullish setup, I have to take it. But like I said, I will most definitely, whatever this turns into, hopefully something like that, with like the first rejection being off of that 37K point, and then possibly another retest after that, putting in a higher high before getting rejected again. That will be where I take profit on my long and enter again on a short. Because what we could probably assume, like if we do want to bottom out here, all right, I'm not saying that we will, but if we do want to bottom out here, we definitely need this to turn into a little bit more of a substantial structure, where possibly this ABC is forming the B of a possible another test to the downside, which could be forming a larger ABC. So, you know, if you're super, super bullish, don't get too bullish too quick. Like I said, if we do get back above the 42,000 range, for whatever reason, I will be more on the bullish side, because at that point, it's an if this and that statement. But if we can see something like this, this would be the next possible place for a turnaround. And conveniently, like if it works out, have it drawn, we're going to be approaching that $30,000 region anyways. But an ABC like this would definitely be a lot more bullish than whatever we have right now, and actually have a legitimate way of turning this price action back around. Now, I'm not saying once that ABC is put in that's it. We're just going to start moving to the upside. I am more than certain that we will see some sort of range like we did over here. Like I said, that's what we want. All right. The challenge account is pretty much back to where we started almost, in terms of like all the money that we put into it. Obviously it's $1,000 account and we're up to, $1,500, $1,600. But that being said, I refilled the account. So technically it's a $1,600 portfolio to start with. So we're pretty much back to baseline. So the best thing that we can hope for is hopefully this ranges for a while, gives us a couple nice setups to hopefully build the portfolio up, $2,000, $3,000 before we actually take off, land a nice long, let that sit, and then scalp trade on the way up with whatever pullbacks or whatever. I definitely will be adding to the long as it goes up. My plan is I don't necessarily know how I'm going to do it, in terms of there's two different options I've been looking at for how to maximize the profit off the original long. Obviously, the best thing and the safest thing to do would be go ahead and every time that we get an ABC pullback and we get back above the A, once we're at that point, maybe add 10% of the original margin size to the long. That way we can kind of maintain the original entry while still putting more margin into a winning trade, not moving our average entry way too up to the point where we can get stopped out easily. Second option, which would net more profit, is once we have the new ABC formed, completely take profit on the long, re-enter the setup with the new profit, and compound the account. We'll see which one I pick, because this is kind of like a testing phase for which one might work out a little bit better. Obviously, logical thinking, the one where we can kind of maintain the original entry, that way we have so much headroom for price action to come down without getting stopped out, would be the best case scenario, but not the most profitable. So we'll see how it works itself out. But that is what I would probably assume is going to happen pretty shortly over the next couple of days. Nice little ABC long, coming back up and retesting the local lows, getting a rejection, coming back down, forming a larger setup, price starts to stabilize, initiates scalping phase, and then hopefully we can kind of move from there. And it's still a debate on what's going to happen with this whole Russia thing, man. Telling you what, guys, if I get drafted, I don't know what's going to happen to me, because I think the route that I'm going to probably move is, and like, there's like so many like people that will get mad at you for saying this, but I wouldn't want to fight. It just, I would try to make sure like I have my chances of being a conscientious. If I can speak first, maybe I can speak to the government. Conscientious okay, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind. Objector. Because you know, you need some evidence to say that you are, and I'm just gonna point them to my live streams. I'll be like, you know what, before you watch these live streams, don't look at the money that's involved. All right, look at my taxes. I claim my taxes, but look at what I'm saying in the live streams, because if you go back like 2-3 years I've been doing these live streams, you can tell that I'm a hippie. Like, I don't like fighting. So hopefully that works in my favor. And like from what I've seen on the news so far, I've been seeing a lot of like news articles talking about like Biden's quote where like there'll be severe ramifications that if they, you know, invade Ukraine. But I think we have already pledged that we're not going to interfere in terms of like military aggression. I know we have a couple troops deployed over there, but I think that's mostly to help the people in the embassies get out. I don't think that's to fight Russia. I think whatever we're going to do, I think we're doing that on the sanctioned side of things, which, like, dude, this is such a shitty situation. And like, I feel it. Like, you know, it just feels like a bunch of, you know, it feels like a scare tactic to like shape people up. And that's what it feels like. Like, let's pump out a whole bunch of news articles and make people think that their lives are in danger. But I don't know, man. Let's hope. Let's not go to war, because this is going to be a bad one, guys. You think the bear market's bad? How about how about the decline of humanity market? That's going to be bad. So, just be good humans to one another. I don't know why that's so hard. Will you ever consider making an NFT? Maybe as a second Patreon of sort? What do you mean by, like, I don't know what I would do, because if I were to make an NFT, it would have to be something actually cool. Something that, like, I feel accomplished making. Like, I don't want to pump out some stupid Kite logo NFT. It would have to be, you know, like Z.Run was one of the first NFTs. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Because I know there's the Crypto Kitties were kind of like the first NFTs, even before the, like, NFTs were really a big thing. Those were back in the 2017 market. But those didn't have like any use case. The Z.Run horses, like, you could race them. Now, it wasn't like a very involved thing. You just kind of put your horse on a racetrack and see if it won. But at least there was something to it. I don't know what NFT I would do. It's gonna end up like the Don't Look Up movie, where shovels cost $999 because everybody's trying to dig their own bunker. And so, like that, you know, I get that. I get you know, what's the saying? Hard times make strong men and soft times make soft men. Let's not talk about hard men, but I think that's how it goes. But I don't necessarily think like that should be the answer. Like the answer to like getting our generation to not be so entitled and all this stuff shouldn't be like, let's send them to war. Like that shouldn't be the go-to solution to how do you fix a society's woes. It shouldn't be, let's go send them off to die. Like that shouldn't be a thing. And you have to agree with me on that. That's just, war is not a good thing. No matter how, like, it's a good thing for the politicians who make a shit ton of money off of it because it all puts people in jobs and stuff. I mean, how do you think we got out of the Great Depression? It was war. War is profitable as hell for the people at top. Like, I know, like, the Rothschilds, maybe it was not the Rothschilds, maybe it was the Rockefellers. They were selling oil to the Americans and to the Nazis during World War II. They were playing both sides of the puzzle and they got rich as fuck. So, I mean, war only helps the people at the top. It's not going to make our society any better. It's not going to make these children any less entitled. The way, with our luck, if that's what you're going for in terms of how to make them less entitled, they're going to come back from the war and be like, yeah, we won this war. We did this. Give me my Starbucks free on the house. Like they're going to be more entitled because they fought. That's how it's actually going to go. It's going to be ironic. That's what it's going to be. There we go. Duper got it. Thank you for correcting this dum-dum. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Is there any Adam and Eve or twin sisters in this price action? Nah, not so far. I mean, you can like make a argument that we have a backwards Adam and Eve. Omnitis, wherever I saw that word. Reverse Adam and Eve. Little guy right here. But nah, it has to be on a significant, like right here, this is too small. This one was alright in terms of what we were looking for. But no, this one's too small right here. I think, if I'm not wrong, yeah, this wasn't really an Adam and Eve. You can make the argument, but it was more like inverse Head and Shoulders kind of. Now we're still feeling the ramifications of the gigantic Adam and Eve right here. Well, wasn't Adam and Eve. Well, actually it was. We had the backwards Adam and Eve right here. And then we had the gigantic one right here. Now, one thing is, if, like, let's say that the market is coming down because of all this Russia madness, which I don't necessarily think it's all related to that. I think this would have happened either way. But if things do clear up and some sort of solution happens, you know, we are pretty much set for something in terms of having a lot of upside, because right now, I think on the macro scale, let's see. If we were going to have a retest of the upside, it would come before the local low. 0.618 at 23,000, so we'll see. I'm still in the boat that we're not going to see below 28,000, but I could be eating my words on that over the next couple of, weeks. That scares me every time I think I break my chair. let's see how this works out. So if my predictions come true, we should see a nice little rejection, pretty much exactly where we got rejected from so far. And what I would like to see is a rejection from here. I don't, like I said, I don't want it to be like come crashing down. What I want to see is possibly a return to maybe around here and then come back up and try to get back above that region. Possibly like a bull trap. A couple people taking breakout trades, trying to get back above that local low. And then some faithful market maker comes and swoops in, forcing us back below that. And that's where I'm going to take my profit from. Like I said, if we don't get up to the 0.441, 0.382, I'm going to have to take my profit off of that level right there. But we will see. If we do happen to get up here, I'm going to take my profit either way. So. How long do you think we go sideways? I don't think it's a really good idea to put a limitation on that. We can go sideways for a couple months, for all I care. So if price goes down 5% and you have 20x leverage with no stop loss, I don't know why the no stop loss part is in there. Like, you should have a stop loss. Is that 100% profit? Yeah, it's 100% profit. I mean, it's dependent on how much of your account you're using as margin. You know, if you have 100% of your account with 20x leverage and a short and no stop loss, yeah. But if you only have 10% of your account, you make 100%. You're just going to add 10% to your portfolio. You could make some avatars with different generated kites, literally kites. The utility of the NFT can be with a trading Discord, maybe merch after. Not sure. I just don't. I just don't feel right about YouTubers getting involved in coins and stuff like that. Like, what was the dude's name? Tech Lead? Like you just look at the title, like, I made a coin, and like, you can smell bullshit from a mile away. I don't want to be involved with anything that could be associated with that kind of scumminess. I feel like a YouTuber being involved with money revolving around NFTs and its community is not a good idea. That's all. The NFTs are preventing the market from being bullish. I don't necessarily think that. I just don't know, like, what would be causing that. Like, I don't think NFTs are a good thing right now. Like I said, I think there will be a future where NFTs make sense. Right now, like, the only thing that they make sense for is like musical masters, like digital documents there can only be one, you know? But in terms of like the future, like I said, if Elon Musk comes out with Neuralink and it can hijack your sensorial system and put you in a virtual environment, you're going to need virtual cars, virtual homes, virtual shoes that are verifiably yours. And that's when NFTs, these bullshit NFTs, start making sense. You know? Maybe there's a future where I can actually just ride Pudge off into the sunset. You know? Wouldn't it be cool too, like with Neuralink, if like instead of live streams, it was like all of us meeting in a room, but we were all just chilling at home, but we were in a virtual environment that was almost like real life. Very, very dystopian future, but shit, the way things are going, I don't think it's too far off. Now, one thing that I have read many, many accounts of from war is there is like a moment in time where like soldiers might experience, what's the correct word for it? Enlightenment almost? I've read a couple different accounts where like, let's say there is an incoming bomb and like there's nothing you can do about it. There's nowhere to run. It's going to hit. And I've read a couple of accounts where like there's this moment in time where everything is just okay. There's nowhere to run. And you kind of have like this different perspective. Possibly that's the only good thing that can ever come from war. Is so much violence and bloodshed that someone just looks around and goes, what the fuck are we doing? What is this about? Why are we here? Like, that's the only time I think war could ever be a good thing. Other than that, it's just not. And if you think war is good, you're probably a Rockefeller. Which I don't know why. You would even want to be a part of that family at that point. I'm not like spouting conspiracies like, you know, the Rockefeller family and all this stuff and reptilians. I'm just saying rich people gonna be rich. That's all. Listen, that's my best hope. But seems like nowadays people are willing to go to war with their next door neighbor. I don't know why. I saw that the UK lifted pretty much all COVID restrictions, which I think is a good step. I think the less barriers that people can have to fight over, the better. It's like if the government goes, hey, you know, we don't give a fuck about masks anymore. People can't fight over masks. You can't go to the grocery store and have some person screaming at you because you want to smell a candle. You know? I just don't know why people have to be so mad nowadays. We live like kings, pretty much. War turns the frogs gay. And I hate to admit it, but he was right. The chemicals in the water were turning the frogs gay. Now, a little bit of a exaggeration. By technicality, they were turning the frogs gay. Which, not even by technicality, because they're hermaphrodites by nature. For anybody that doesn't know the science of frogs can switch from female to male depending on what the season calls for. But unfortunately, these chemicals were turning them despite the need for it. So it was turning the frogs male to female. By technicality, turning the frickin' frogs gay. I guess Alex Jones was right. But yeah. Take it as you will. Not all frogs. All right. Gonna put that out there. Not a frog expert. I'm just going based off of what I know from reading a couple different books. I didn't even know this, but apparently Joe Rogan and Alex Jones like kind of don't see eye to eye right now. Is that true? Because like I kind of liked that duo. Like I liked how Joe Rogan would call Alex Jones on some of his bullshit. But yeah. Your B point is 35.4K. Don't read too much into where I have these arbitrary lines. This is just what I'm hoping to see. All right, it's not me busting out a crystal ball and saying that that's exactly where price is going to land. All right, I'm just taking a shot in the dark. This is the structure that we want to see as we approach these numbers, but these aren't set in stone. Just me kind of drawing out what I would like to see, that's all. Can you explain the significance of 42,000 on the charts? Yeah. So if we look at the daily time frame, if we look at price action, what you can see is we have an A to the downside, which was 41,720. So I'm saying 42,000 just kind of round it out, make it a little bit more easy to remember, but specifically 41,720. And then we had an uptrend from there, and we are currently in a downtrend. Formed a full ABC. Now this one is definitely more symmetrical than what we're typically used to seeing. So like right here, for example, we had an A, a B, and a C. The A and the C were very, very close together. This one, not so much. Just how the wind blows. So that's why I'm saying if that we are above 42,000, or to be more quite literal, 41,701, if we do get back above that range, I have to be bullish from that point. Doesn't mean that I won't take short positions in anticipation that we might go down, but I have to be a little bit more bullish. So like if we ever got back up there, what I would hope to see short term would be some sort of pullback like this, maybe for a retest to form some sort of inverse head and shoulders. And then hopefully off of that, we'll see some sort of ABC structure. But like I said, right now, I don't necessarily think that's in the cards. I think we would want to form some sort of larger ABC structure to have that sort of bounce to get back above that range. Right now, the only thing that I have in mind in terms of a target would be around like 38,500 at most. That's where I'm going to be taking my profit in particular if we do see that number. And I'll be looking for some sort of 15-minute time frame ABC to short back down. Like I said, hopefully turning this into a larger ABC, like so. And then hopefully from there, we get some sort of rebound and we start ranging. Maybe we'll range between 41,700 and this low right here of 32,974. We'll see how it works itself out. TA on S&P. I don't like to look at the S&P so much. I like to look at the US 100. Kind of the same ordeal. But so far, you know, we have an A, a B, and a very, very long C. Now, on the US 100, we're not too shy of seeing longer Cs. On Bitcoin, we typically see the A and the C pretty compact. Like if we look at BTC on a lot of these, you can see like right here, for example. All right, we have A, we have B, and the C is pretty much right on top of the A. We did put in a higher high there, creating a ABC structure. Right here, for example, we have A, we have B, we have C. A and C very, very close together. Now on the US 100, we do have the C and the A being separated a lot more. It's like right here, for example, some of the lesser time frame pullbacks, you can see they're much further apart. Right here, much further apart. We can go back to some of the old ones. This one was pretty close. A and C pretty close together. Double bottom, double bottom. But you can see like this one, for example. This one is one of the ones where the A and the C are very, very, very far apart. Now, you can see right here, we did have some sort of smaller time frame, ABC on the C wave, allowing you to get an entry if you are playing the US 100. But right now, it's kind of that same ordeal. You can see ABC, and then on the C wave, currently all we have is right here. So I can't really be bullish on like the market as a whole until we get back above, 15,174. It just doesn't make sense for me to start calling bullish if we're not back above that number. If we do happen to form some sort of smaller time frame structure, kind of like what we did with what I just showed you, maybe a little bit of sideways action, and then one more drop, giving us some sort of ABC over here, then we can start talking being bullish. But until then, that number still remains to be 15,174. Alex Jones, be gay. Is that a command, or are you just stating? Be gay, I say. Be gay. Did you take a look at Luna? Sure, why not? And like I said, guys, I'm not going to be on here for too long today. Probably like another 10-15 minutes. I was just hopping on to keep on schedule, say hello, give you an update on what's going on, because there was some positions. Luna, so here's the problem, all right? Luna is in a very good position, actually. We got a nice, fat, well-rounded ABC structure, and we are currently above the A. So, I mean, it's all dependent on how you want to play it. Me personally, I would take a look at BTC, see what BTC's position is in, and judge whether or not you want to start being uber bullish on Luna. Just from Luna alone, it does make sense to be bullish. But that being said, on the smaller time frames, what you can't see is if we are expecting BTC to come up to 38,000, 38,500, that would probably mean that Luna is going to jump up a little bit too. And if you look at the smaller time frames for Luna, what do you see? All right, you see an A and a B and waiting for a possible C. So even though Luna looks very appetizing from a ABC structure perspective, we might be seeing one more leg down. And then possibly sideways, like I'm talking about for BTC. So we might be looking for, an ABC off of the C wave. Very good possibility. So, like I said, I'll leave that choice up to you. But Luna, it looks a lot better than most things right now. I will admit. But I always tend to look at BTC, what BTC looks like, what we can probably expect for BTC, and then transition that to alts. Is fish still scratchy? Not as much. So I got the Dinovite to add to his meals, and I switched up the type of food that he had. So like I was using blue for pretty much since he was born, and I recently switched to I think it's called Canidid, Canine did, or something like that. It's like an orange packaging, and the food smells awful, but I'm assuming that's because it's legitimate. I don't know what kind of backwards compatibility that is for my brain, but it seems to have helped him a little bit in terms of switching up his diet. Maybe there was something he was allergic to in blue. I'm not quite sure. But he's definitely calmed down a lot Because before it was like every 5 seconds he would be chomping, you know, but now he still does it, but it's not as much. And he's been a lot more calm in terms of me not being in the room. Like, I have to, you know, leave him up here when I go downstairs to watch TV with my sister, because otherwise, you know, he just eats random stuff. But he hasn't been like yelping like he's, you know, in trouble or something, trying to get my attention and come back upstairs. He just kind of chills out. So far this diet change has actually been working out for him. Kick Happy, something, man. Remember what I said? I don't know. Did you say that we were going to drop? And you come to rub it in my face. Ha ha, Kite, you were bullish. You were bullish. And you got destroyed. Because you were right, man. You were right. I'm sorry. Hopefully you bet the farm and you made out like a bandit. AMD's still doing decently. Obviously everything's having a pullback right now, but AMD's still doing pretty decent. The last DCA that I had on my AMD holdings was from 102. So we still haven't retraced all the way back down there. And we can see we have an ABC setup on AMD as well. Which, if we do happen to get back above 130, I'll be adding some more. Because, I mean, AMD has just been crushing Intel under its boot, man. Now, here's the thing. Like, if AMD can get their shit together with their graphics cards, oh, man, AMD is going to be a hot commodity. Like I said, I've been holding AMD ever since $7 and just kind of DCing in off of any setup I can pretty much find. And so far it's worked out to my advantage. So AMD, like I said, in terms of processors, they're kicking ass. They got a lot of improving to do on the GPU side of things. But once that happens, I'm very confident on them doing pretty good, or at least catching up, you know, being a little bit more competitive in the GPU market. They have kind of like the value GPUs on lock, but in terms of like the mid-range and the high-range GPUs, they're just not even comparable to NVIDIA. Like, they're really not. Which is sad to say. Like, I'm not a fanboy of either or. Like, I want both companies to put out the best possible product, because in the end, who wins? Consumers. But they're so far behind. It's ridiculous. Not only in the GPU tech, not like in the GPUs themselves, but the technology kind of following the GPUs. Like, the ability to, upscale to get better frame rate, dynamic super resolution, a whole bunch of stuff besides just the actual power of the GPUs. Kite, can you please explain the logic behind the ABC pattern? I mean, why the trend should go up or down from the C? So the ABC is nothing more than pretty much like a swing failure breakout. So pretty much what an ABC tells the market is, theoretically, we came down in a downtrend and we put in this low. All right, this is where the market was able to meet demand and then go upward from there. Now, if we come back down and we put in a C that's lower than the A, but price is still able to maintain and get back above the A, that signals to investors that this is a very, very strong point of support and that you should buy into it. That's pretty much what I would, summarize. Like I said, I mean, I don't have like a textbook definition of it, but logically, that's what we could assume. or it can indicate on the opposite side sell pressure. You know, like right here, for example, price action goes into an uptrend. Use this so it's a little bit easier to see. Price action goes into an uptrend. It gets rejected. Price tries to make another try at the upside. And the fact that it was able to get above but still cannot maintain above the original point shows enormous sell pressure. So people sell into it. And you can see what follows after that. That's pretty much what I would say in terms of my best description of why it works. Thoughts on Intel releasing energy efficient mining rigs? They are far behind. I'm not saying that like Intel can't compete one day, but you got to think about it. If AMD is not even close to NVIDIA, like it's not that they're too far away, but in terms of like performance, they're not close. If AMD is this far behind NVIDIA, and Intel is just now getting into discrete graphics cards and trying to get into the mining game, it's going to be like 25 plus years until something of significance happens from Intel's side. They've been processors all along. Now they have some APUs, but discrete graphics cards, no. I don't think they're a really big threat in terms of like competing against my AMD stock. Do you have a system for stop loss size? Not necessarily. It mostly is derived from how the market's acting. So like if I have a higher win ratio, it makes sense to reduce stop loss. Now there's certain points in the market where the market's just not really conducive to having a small stop loss. But like right now, you know, I'm kind of unsure on what's going to happen. Like I said, my best guess would be a retest of the $38,000 region, trying to form a larger ABC structure and then moving sideways. Once we get to the moving sideways bit where we've kind of had a little bit more, you know, of a range being built, I can reduce my stop loss a little bit because we're going to be working with smaller time frames. But right now, we're kind of working with larger time frames, so I have to increase my stop loss. Well, Apple's M1 chip is actually AMD. That's why AMD's stock skyrocketed when they announced the M1. All right, guys, I'm going to head out for today. I'm going to stream for an hour. Pretty good. Want to stick my toes in the water a little bit before we start getting on like these 4-hour live streams. Also right now, I'm just kind of excited to go back downstairs and continue watching TV. But we went over what kind of scenario I'm looking for. And hopefully, you know, some of you guys, despite, you know, your biases, play the setups that need to be taken. All right. If you don't like ABCs, like if that's not what you're using, all right, cool. But if there is something in your specific strategy that even though you might have a short bias, if it's telling you to long, take a long. As long as you got a good stop loss, using good risk, what can it hurt? All right, because, you know, if I would have just held that short because I think we're going to plummet and I did not take this position, which is a very clear ABC setup, I would be SOL right now. All right, but so far we're up $204. Not too shabby. If I lose the trade, I lose about, let's see, $36, $37. So we're not quite to a 10 restored ratio quite yet. But if we do happen to get up to that 38.5K range, that would be just about a 10 restored ratio trade, a little bit underneath, like a 9.5 or something like that. And I'll be taking profits then. Like I said, in the short term, like over the next maybe couple hours, maybe even a day, I do think we're going to see a pullback before we see that 38K number. But if we don't get to 38K, like I said, you know, I'm still looking for something like this. So if we put in a higher A or a higher C, and that C does not reach that 38.5K level, I still have to take my profit once we get back below the A. All right. I'll give it some breathing room. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not just going to like do it on the exact cent as it puts in a higher high and then comes back below. Gonna give it some breathing room. But I will be taking a short at that point. Dante, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Maria, thank you. Danny, peace, man. Enzo, DJ Kite. And I'll just start a new YouTube channel where I just play my playlists all day. Jacob, thank you. Africa, cheers, Kite. Cheers, Africa. Appreciate it, man. In my opinion, it's the UX of the entire crypto space that needs an overhaul for major retail adoption. I mean, am I missing something? UX isn't UI, right? What does UX stand for? Because I was thinking like UI, and I was like, I mean, it's come a long way. Like Coinbase is very usable to the average person now. Even my granddad's using it. You know, Kraken was actually one of the more complicated ones to use, and now I think it looks a lot better than Coinbase in my opinion. Like I said, I've recently switched to Kraken, although I do miss the fact that I could use my Visa to like get instant transactions. You know, Coinbase forced my hand. Like I have no clue what caused them to kind of shut down my account. I could still sell and transfer crypto, so I was able to get everything off of it. But I can't buy crypto on Coinbase anymore. My best, like I haven't done anything illegal, so my best guess would be like something against like their terms and conditions. Maybe, you know, playing like crypto poker or something, or like Crash BTC, because I know they don't allow you to send money to gambling sites, which I haven't sent like thousands of dollars, maybe like $100 to, you know, bullshit here and there. But now I'm a Kraken boy now, so user experience. Yeah, I would think that's come a long way as well too. Like I said, I mean compared to what it was. Oh, Wesley tried to warn us, guys. He tried to warn us. All right, Wesley. I hope it works out for you, man. I hope it works out. All right, guys. Let's choose what we're going to play today. This is this is what I play for fish when I leave the room. I'm that kind of dog dad. Soothing sounds for dogs. You know, because I like, come on, dogs. I think dogs like music too. We'll put on some Cure the Dawn. Let's put on I don't know which one I want to play. There's so many good ones. They're so good. They're all so good. I don't know who this is. I don't know who Scott Adams is. Let's play this one. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard it before. So do something. we can play that for Bitcoin. All right, guys. I will see you on Wednesday. If anything, as always, if anything crazy happens, I'll see you guys tomorrow for like a short period of time. But for all intents and purposes, for the schedule, I will see you on Wednesday. Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing, guys. Bye.
Have you heard the phrase, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose? You've heard that, right? Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. How about that college class you were going to sign up for? How about that sport you wanted to get involved in? How about that motorcycle you wanted? Too dangerous, right? You're free. You're free. Every one of you who is depressed and anxious, you're free. You're free. Because nothing you do will be worse than the way you feel right now. Do something. Do something dangerous. Psychologically dangerous. Take a chance. Put yourself out there. Flame out. Get killed. Just get smashed. Just go do it. You're free. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. If you want to meet people, here's the best way to do it. You have to join activities. There is no other way to meet people and form lasting friendships. Hear this clearly. There's no other way to do it. You have to join an activity, a club, a sport, a gym, an organization, a political movement. Nothing else, right? You can't just make a friend. Like, good luck. You could try. Well, I don't think I've ever seen it work. Hi, Bob, hearing good things about you. I think we could be friends. Doesn't work. Do something. Do something. Join a thing. Make a sport. Form a club of your own. Just go do it. You're free. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. Why would you not form a club of your own? Because you're afraid nobody would come, right? What's the difference? You're as good as dead. You're depressed, you're anxious, you hate your life. You're thinking about putting I can't say that here, but you're thinking about maybe life isn't worth it. You're free. You're absolutely free. Go have some fun. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. You're free. Do something. Do something. I gotta tell you, I've used this technique a number of times, and man, does it work. It really works. You're free. Just remember that people criticizing you are narcissists. They are broken. Don't let it break you. You've got some techniques now, and I think you're gonna be a lot better. better. Go get yourself some friends and you'll find your mental health problems feel a lot better. Go get involved in something. Join a group. Form a group. Be the boss. That is your advice for the day, and I will talk to you